You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. A network-based attack surface refers to all the components, devices, and services within a network that are accessible and therefore exposed to potential threats. These include servers, routers, endpoints, and even virtual machines connected to the environment. Any system that communicates over the network, whether internally or externally, contributes to this surface. The larger and more complex the network, the greater the opportunity for attackers to probe for weaknesses. Understanding the network-based attack surface is crucial because it is one of the most visible and frequently exploited domains. Unlike hidden vulnerabilities in code, these exposures are constantly scanned by automated tools across the globe. Open ports and exposed services are classic entry points for attackers. A port represents a communication channel on a system, and when it is open, it signals that a service is listening. Services such as web servers, databases, or file transfers are necessary for operations but can also be exploited if misconfigured or unpatched. Attackers routinely scan networks to find open ports and then probe them for vulnerabilities. Each unnecessary open port expands the attack surface. For defenders, minimizing open services and applying strict controls around them is fundamental to reducing exposure and hardening the network. Unsecured management interfaces are another critical risk. Protocols such as SSH, Remote Desktop Protocol, RDP, or web-based administration consoles provide direct access to system management. If exposed to the internet without strong authentication or encryption, they become prime targets for brute force attacks and exploitation. These interfaces often grant high levels of privilege, so compromise can lead directly to system takeover. Defenders must secure management interfaces through restricted access, multi-factor authentication, and strong encryption. Treating these channels with the highest sensitivity reflects their importance. Leaving them exposed is equivalent to leaving the master keys to the network available for anyone to try. Network segmentation is a strategy designed to limit lateral movement once an attacker gains access. In a flat network, compromise of a single device may allow rapid spread across the environment. Segmentation divides networks into smaller, isolated zones, restricting communication between them. Sensitive workloads, such as financial systems or health data, can be placed in protected segments with tighter controls. This approach mirrors physical security, where sensitive areas are separated from general access zones. Proper segmentation not only reduces the attack surface, but also improves detection, as unusual traffic between zones becomes easier to spot and investigate. Perimeter defenses, such as firewalls and gateways, form a conceptual boundary between trusted internal systems and untrusted external networks. Firewalls enforce rules about which traffic is allowed in or out, while gateways can filter content and detect malicious communication. Though perimeter defenses are not foolproof, they remain essential in shaping the exposure of the network. Attackers must pass through or around these controls to reach internal assets. Conceptually, perimeter defenses create choke points that defenders can monitor and secure, ensuring the network surface is not fully open to the internet at large. Legacy protocols and plaintext communication represent another persistent weakness. Older protocols such as Telnet, FTP, or unencrypted HTTP expose data in transit to interception and manipulation. Attackers can easily capture credentials or inject malicious commands when traffic is unprotected. Even modern protocols, if configured without encryption, present similar risks. Despite their known weaknesses, legacy protocols often remain in use for compatibility or convenience. This creates unnecessary exposure. Replacing them with secure alternatives like SSH, SFTP, or HTTPS is a foundational step in shrinking the network attack surface. Encryption ensures that even if data is intercepted, it remains unusable to attackers. Asset discovery is essential to mapping network exposures accurately. Organizations often underestimate how many devices, services, or connections are active on their networks. Shadow IT, forgotten systems, or rogue devices can remain undetected while contributing to the attack surface. Automated discovery tools help identify every connected device and service, ensuring defenders understand what they are tasked with protecting. Without discovery, defenses are incomplete, leaving attackers free to exploit blind spots. A reliable, updated asset inventory transforms network security from guesswork into a data-driven effort, enabling organizations to systematically reduce exposure across their environment. Network Access Control (NAC) enforces device posture by verifying that systems meet security requirements before joining the network. For example, a NAC system may check whether a laptop has current patches, up-to-date antivirus, and proper configurations before granting access. This reduces exposure by ensuring that only compliant, trusted devices can communicate across the network. Without NAC, unmanaged or compromised devices can connect freely, increasing risk. By integrating posture checks, organizations reduce the chance that vulnerable or malicious endpoints expand the attack surface. NAC highlights that defense begins not only with managing the network itself but also with the devices connecting to it. Misconfigured routing and access control lists, ACLs, can dramatically expand network exposure. Routing errors may inadvertently expose internal systems to external access, while improperly defined ACLs can allow more traffic than intended. These missteps are often invisible until exploited, yet they can provide attackers with shortcuts into sensitive areas of the network. For defenders, reviewing and validating routing rules and ACLs is critical. Access should always be defined by the principle of least privilege. Only the minimum necessary communication is permitted. Reducing misconfiguration closes gaps that attackers might otherwise exploit to bypass higher-level defenses. Remote access and VPN configurations are directly tied to the size of the network attack surface. With more employees working remotely, VPNs have become vital gateways into corporate environments. However, poorly configured or outdated VPNs can expose entire networks to compromise if breached. Split tunneling, weak encryption, or lack of multi-factor authentication all increase risk. Similarly, remote access protocols like RDP must be tightly controlled. Proper configuration, monitoring, and hardening of remote access reduce exposure, ensuring these tools provide flexibility without inadvertently expanding the attack surface. Remote connectivity must be treated as a privileged pathway, not a casual convenience. Monitoring raw network telemetry for anomalous behavior is an important defensive practice. Telemetry such as traffic volume, protocol usage, or unusual connection attempts can reveal when attackers are probing or attempting to exploit exposures. For example, repeated login failures across multiple systems may signal brute force attempts, while unexpected traffic to foreign IP addresses may indicate data exfiltration. Telemetry provides defenders with visibility into the health and behavior of the network. Without it, malicious activity can blend into normal operations. Monitoring ensures that exposures are not only identified, but also actively watched for signs of exploitation. Ultimately, network exposure must be actively reduced through configuration and policy. It is not enough to deploy defensive tools and hope they catch every attempt. Proactive reduction means disabling unnecessary services, enforcing encryption, segmenting sensitive areas, and reviewing configurations regularly. Policy provides the framework for consistent enforcement, while technical measures implement the details. Attackers succeed when networks are left open, sprawling, or unmanaged. Defenders succeed when they impose structure and discipline, ensuring that only necessary, secured, and monitored services remain accessible. This active reduction defines the essence of network-based attack surface management. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Securing management interfaces begins with strong configuration and authentication. Administrative services like SSH, RDP, and web consoles should never be left exposed to the public internet. Instead, they should be restricted to specific networks or protected behind secure gateways. Multi-factor authentication ensures that even if passwords are stolen, attackers cannot gain entry easily. Strong encryption prevents eavesdropping on administrative sessions. Many compromises stem from weak or default credentials on these high-value services. Treating management interfaces as crown jewels means applying the strictest protections possible. With proper hardening, these critical doors into systems are no longer left unlocked for attackers to exploit. Beyond authentication, defenders must implement access restrictions and continuous monitoring for management interfaces. Limiting which IP addresses can connect reduces exposure to automated scans and brute force attempts. Logging every administrative session creates accountability, helping investigators trace potential misuse. Alerts for unusual access times or repeated failed logins provide early detection of compromise attempts. While attackers may always probe for weakly protected interfaces, defenders who combine access controls, monitoring, and strong authentication substantially lower the risk. The lesson is simple. Administrative access should be scarce, guarded, and constantly observed, not treated as just another open service. Encrypted tunnels such as TLS and IPsec protect data in transit, reducing the risk of interception or tampering. Without encryption, attackers monitoring networks can capture sensitive information like credentials or financial records. Encrypted tunnels create private, secure pathways across untrusted environments, ensuring that even if traffic is intercepted, it remains unreadable. TLS underpins secure web traffic, while IPsec provides encrypted communication at the network layer. The use of these protocols reduces the effective attack surface by denying adversaries access to plaintext data streams. Encryption transforms interception attempts into wasted effort, forcing attackers to seek other avenues. Bastion hosts and jump boxes act as controlled gateways for administrative access. Instead of allowing administrators to connect directly to sensitive systems, all management traffic flows through these hardened, monitored intermediaries. Bastion hosts are tightly secured, logged, and often require multi-factor authentication. By funneling access through a single point, defenders gain visibility and control. This setup reduces exposure by eliminating the need to expose multiple systems directly. Attackers attempting to compromise administrative access now face a hardened choke point rather than a distributed array of targets. Bastion hosts embody the principle of narrowing openings into high-value environments. Patching and firmware updates are essential to secure network devices. Routers, switches, firewalls, and wireless access points often run embedded operating systems with vulnerabilities. Attackers actively exploit outdated firmware to gain footholds at the very heart of network infrastructure. Applying timely updates closes known gaps and keeps device functionality secure. Yet many organizations overlook these devices in patch cycles, focusing instead on servers or endpoints. Defenders must treat network hardware as first-class citizens in vulnerability management. Neglecting them is like leaving the locks on your doors broken while securing everything inside. Updated firmware is foundational to network hardening. Flow data such as NetFlow or SFlow provides visibility into how traffic moves across the network. By collecting metadata about connections, who is talking to whom, over which protocols, and for how long, defenders can spot unusual patterns. For example, an internal system suddenly sending large volumes of data to an unknown foreign address may indicate exfiltration. Unlike full packet capture, flow data is lightweight and scalable, making it a practical monitoring tool. Leveraging flow data allows organizations to detect exposure being exploited in real time. It turns the network itself into a source of intelligence, illuminating behaviors invisible at higher levels. VPN split tunneling illustrates how secure remote access can inadvertently expand the attack surface. With split tunneling, only some traffic goes through the VPN, while other traffic routes directly to the internet. This creates a risk where a device may simultaneously connect to a secure network and an untrusted one, enabling attackers to bridge into protected environments. Best practices dictate disabling split tunneling for sensitive networks, ensuring all traffic flows through secure gateways. While it may reduce performance, the security trade-off is worthwhile. Secure VPN configuration exemplifies how convenience often collides with security, and careful choices are required. Routine network scanning coupled with penetration testing ensures exposures are identified before attackers discover them. Automated scans reveal open ports, weak protocols, or misconfigured services, providing a snapshot of the current surface. Penetration testing adds human creativity, simulating real adversaries who chain weaknesses together in unexpected ways. Together, scanning and testing keep defenses proactive. Attackers are constantly probing networks. Defenders must match that persistence with regular assessments. Treating scanning and testing as ongoing rather than occasional activities ensures the attack surface is continually mapped, evaluated, and reduced before adversaries can take advantage. Logging and alerting transform raw network activity into actionable defense mechanisms. Firewalls, routers, and intrusion detection systems all generate logs detailing traffic patterns and attempted access. Properly collected and analyzed, these logs reveal suspicious behavior, such as repeated scanning or brute force attempts. Alerts trigger rapid responses, allowing defenders to contain threats before they escalate. Without logging, attacks may unfold silently, with defenders blind to early warning signs. By integrating robust logging and alerting practices, organizations ensure that every network event is observed and assessed, shrinking the window of time attackers can exploit exposures undetected. Network hardening relies on applying least exposure principles consistently. This means enabling only necessary services, enforcing strong authentication, disabling insecure protocols, and minimizing direct internet-facing systems. Each reduction in exposure denies attackers potential entry points. Hardening also involves continuous review as networks change and grow over time. Without active management, exposure creeps back in through misconfigurations, forgotten services, or new deployments. Hardening transforms networks from sprawling, porous environments into disciplined, defended infrastructures. While perfection is unattainable, continuous application of least exposure principles ensures attackers face increasing obstacles, discouraging opportunistic probing and limiting pathways for determined adversaries. Managing network-based attack surfaces must be seen as a foundational element of organizational security. Unlike some threats that are abstract or infrequent, network exposures are constant and visible to anyone on the Internet. They represent the first impression attackers receive when probing a target. Organizations that neglect this surface invite compromise, while those that rigorously manage it deny attackers easy wins. Network attack surface management combines technical controls, policies, and cultural discipline. It is not optional but essential, underpinning every other security measure. By reducing exposures here, defenders secure the foundation on which all other protections rely. In summary, securing network-based attack surfaces requires layered, proactive strategies. Hardened management interfaces, encrypted tunnels, segmentation, bastion hosts, and updated devices reduce direct exposure. Flow data, logging, scanning, and penetration testing provide visibility to catch weaknesses early. Strong policies and continuous monitoring ensure exposures do not creep back into the environment. The network is the connective tissue of modern organizations, and attackers know it well. Defenders who invest in reducing and monitoring this surface build resilience, forcing adversaries to work harder, take greater risks, and settle for fewer opportunities. This discipline creates stronger, more secure organizations over time. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.